Hey guys, my name is Super Koopa and welcome to the MFC, as known as the Mario Family Channel. And here today we are wrapping up our Mario Kart World video series, trying to predict about what this game is going to look like. And now that it's been out officially for about a month, well, there's a lot we could say about the game, but in this specific video, we're talking about everything that we got right with our predictions here on the channel when it comes to Mario Kart World. So if you are not yet subscribed, make sure to hit that subscribe button for more videos on Nintendo predictions for the Switch 2 and just wholesome family videos and content. So we are happy to have you here today talking about Mario Kart World. Now, what's gonna be happening in this video? We've already kind of explained the gist of it, but I thought we'd make it a little bit fun. Why don't we do a little point system to see how much we got right and how much we got wrong will be deducted from there. So on this channel, I have released videos about retro and nitro courses, about battle courses, and character rosters. And so we're going to be judging solely based off of those today. All right, let's get into our first topic, the character roster. So there ended up being a total of 50 standalone characters in the base game at release, which actually aligned perfectly with my own predictions of 50 base characters. I was very excited when I heard that. However, Nintendo decided to go a little bit of a different route. You know, not the classic characters that deserve a spot route. They actually went the goofy NPC characters who the DMV would probably never grant a license to. And I mean, and I counted, 10 of them don't even have arms, and I'm pretty sure freaking Cockdoor is legally blind. The staff members seemed to go in a different direction. You know, they talked about having the Mushroom Cow, or the Moo, which is now known as just Cow, as a playable driver. This kind of really skewed the roster's direction, and so my direction, it looked a little bit differently, but it didn't mean that I got everything wrong. So here's my original roster on the screen right now, and this is how we're going to be tallying up the points for this round. Since we have an even 50 characters here, each character that I predicted will be worth 2 points, equaling up to 100 points available to be rewarded. So the base 24, just in that very first trailer on Mario Bros. Circuit, I already had predicted those characters, and so we're going to be including them in the characters that were included and that we got right for this one. Okay, so starting with the characters that I picked, besides the original 24, these are Dry Bones, Nabbit, Goomba, Piranha Plant, Penguin, Hammer Bro, and Blue Pianta. And just for good measure, my buddy Supa Lupa, he actually predicted that Wiggler would be a character, and it actually did. However, I did not predict that one, but I'm still going to count it in the original roster. And a few honorable mentions before we give you a final total here is that the Luma, who is a spectator, Kamek, who is an item, and Boom Boom, who is a stage hazard. These all right now, yes, they are NPCs, but they were on my original roster and are included in the game, which is exciting, but not worth any points. Brings our final points to a Mario Kart 64 points out of 100, which is pretty good considering how off-kilter this roster ended up being from the typical, Mario Kart formula. Here is a photo of the final roster stacked up with my own characters. Alright, next round is gonna be Battle Mode. So Balloon Battle and Coin Runners returned and were left unchanged. Now, while we were all hoping for some sort of maybe Battle Royale mode or something more than just aesthetic changes, maybe to the weight of your stats, having coins or balloons like I talked about in my battle video, nothing really altered gameplay too drastically, and that's kind of okay. It's what you'd expect from a game that's primary focus is on the racing gameplay, not so much on the battle. Before Balloon Battle was officially announced in the quote-unquote direct that we had, I made some predictions of what we could see for battle tracks, and I predicted a lot more than what was actually given to us in the end, which is kind of a bummer. But I think it's safe to deduct points for every battle track that I did not get right, as well as awarding points for the ones that I did get correctly. For this round, up to 96 points are available for grabs, and each track is going to be worth 4 points, including deductions. I predicted that 23 battle tracks would be included in the base game, with one being unlocked when you earned Rainbow Road, making a solid 24 battle tracks. What we got? was only 8 tracks. This automatically deducts a third of the points that I was predicting, and I got them way over when it comes to that. But even out of 8 that were chosen, here's what I got right. Number 1, the track that I called Neo Bros Plateau is essentially the Mario Bros Circuit battle track. Number 2, Castle Courtyard is Peach Stadium. It's basically the same exact layout as I was expecting. Wii Thwomp Desert is kind of in the game. I'm going to count this one as it's been turned into Chain Chomp Desert. Suddenly everybody has forgotten that it was called Thwomp Desert at some point, I guess. Number 4, Dino Observatory is the Dino Jungle battle track. And finally, Big Donut is the only name that I got right out of all of them. So we knew that this one was at least in there, and if battle tracks were returning, which we knew that they were going to, that this one was going to be apparent right from the get-go. So this is only 5, and if they're all awarded 4 points, the final score is 20 points out of 96 points that was awarded for this round. Now, before we get to our final track predictions, I wanted to share some honorable mentions of some ideas that I had for the new game that did in fact pan out in the end product. Now, no points are going to actually be rewarded for this time on these mentions, but I thought it would be cool to mention what else I got right in this game. Items that I predicted that would be added or returned were the Mega Mushroom and the Feather as a normal item in races, not just battle mode. Now, as I was hoping to see the drill item added from Mario Wonder, we basically saw nothing returned from Mario Wonder, which is really strange. I don't think any of us could have guessed that. I predicted that the Piranha Plant would no longer be in the game as an item, as I was predicting that Piranha Plant would be a playable driver, which did in fact come to pass. We also did not see the return of Renegade Roundup for the same reason, just as I had thought. While I did predict that costumes would be included in the game, I had hoped that they would be similarly handled to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, with the color variations of Birdo, Yoshi, and the alternate costumes for Link, Inklings, and Villagers. I think that what we got was pretty bad in terms of the UI, and costume treatment for some of the characters is actually horrible. I mean, DK and Pauline clearly needing some DLC love in the future. I would love to have seen at least a set 8 costumes per character, similar to Super Smash Bros., treating everybody with similar and equal love. But unfortunately, that's not quite what we got. Finally, I'd hoped that elements like weather and time of day would affect the racing experience and change with the in-game clock and a weather system. We did not, however, see a weather channel-like app return, at least yet, but we have seen the appearance of weather and time of day changes through the natural progression of tracks, as well as the lightning item causing the weather to change to rainy when used in certain instances. Now, let's get into the final round, the tracks. So up to 10 points are available for each prediction based off its specificity. Now, what do I mean by specificity? For example, the element of a track making a guest appearance, the music making it in the game, or an element of the track guest on a Nitro course, for example, a Toko making an appearance on a track. Well, that's going to award me 5 points. So not super specific. However, 10 points are available if something major like the appearance of Daisy's Castle, a track appearing in the exact order in the cup that I predicted it would be in, or an actual retro track I predicted appearing in the final base game. I mean, you can't get any more specific than an actual retro course that I guessed being in the game. Now that is going to be awarded 10 full points. And for each track, I'll be explaining why I chose to reward myself with those points, just so that you can have an understanding about it. But for this practice, I'm excluding the double tracks. What are double tracks? Well, they decided to repeat some tracks, including Peach Stadium and Crown City. So we're going to be excluding those 2 tracks, making it 30 tracks total. With up to 10 points available, that's going to be 300 points available to win for this round. Now that's a lot. But I want to clarify one more thing. For my Mario Kart prediction videos on YouTube, I released them prior to the subsequent trailers that they all would be appearing in, except for one track, and that's Mario Bros. Circuit. I started my prediction videos, releasing them at least, right after the initial Switch 2 teaser trailer, which included Mario Bros. Circuit. So I obviously included that one in my roster in later predictions, just because it had already been a confirmed track. But I didn't know exactly where this track would be placed. So for our very first track, getting right into it, number 1 is Mario Bros. Circuit, the first track in the Mushroom Cup. Now, this is a pretty specific detail. It is not uncommon for a circuit to appear as the first track in a Mario Kart game, but I was also completely wrong about the layout. I kind of showed like what I thought the layout was going to be, because I was not assuming that we'd see transitional tracks. So I thought you'd be racing, you know, past Yoshi's Diner and into the rock formations and everything, but I assumed very wrong. So I got it right. The very first track in the Mushroom Cup that I predicted would be Mario Bros. Circuit. Because the layout was wrong, I'm only giving myself 5 points for this round. So we got 5 points out of 10 so far. That's pretty good. Let's get into the second track. Number 2, Crown City shares a lot of similarities to New Donk Drive, a track that was meant to be based off of the Odyssey Kingdom of New Donk City. Now, Pauline is seen driving through this in the trailer, calling back to her role as the mayor in the city in Odyssey and in Brooklyn in the Mario Bros. Movie. This isn't very specific, and it's not necessarily based off of New Donk City, but I think it's pretty apparent that this is a Pauline-based city track. And if you look on the map, Pauline is actually one of the closest characters to this city track, in between that and the DK Spaceport track. And so I am granting this 5 points for a Pauline-themed city track. Number 3, I had hoped trains would be the inspiration for the next Rainbow Road track. However, Whistle Stop Summit ended up taking its place. But more on trains and Rainbow Road later on. However, 0 points are rewarded for this track. Number 4, a red girder-based track is the 4th race in the Mushroom Cup, which I called High Rise Worksite, including elements of Donkey Kong, Mario Bros, and Wrecking Crew. DK Spaceport leaned heavily into this idea, from the inspiration from the original Donkey Kong arcade instead, not so much Wrecking Crew. But due to the placement of this track being the last track in the Mushroom Cup in my prediction, and its close resemblance to my idea, the return of blue oil barrels as I had wanted, and the rising higher and higher as the track goes on, this track is way too specific and needs 10 points. Guys, I was so excited when I saw this track. Alright, moving on to the next cup. DS Desert Hills ditched its Mario 3 inspo and traded it for a Mario Land vibe. I had predicted that a track called Chai Ruins would one day make it in and be bringing back the Sarasaland references like Toko Tokos and Batadons. However, in the end, I discarded the idea for my final 32 track prediction. But with that in mind, the return of these enemies at all is shocking. But the specificity of the track Chai Ruins does nothing for DS Desert Hills, but will do everything for the next track. It's only fair to reward this track 0 points. Shy Guy Bazaar returns from the 3DS as predicted. This would be an automatic 10 points. However, as I previously mentioned, I had this track called Chai Ruins, and I want to take a moment to share some crazy things that came true, even though I ditched this track for my final prediction. Number 1, Daisy's Castle is here and can be driven in, as seen in the map on the screen right now from Chai Ruins. It's right there in the middle of the track, and I predicted that you could drive through it. You're going to be able to go to Daisy's Castle and fly around. That's so exciting. Number 2, UFOs are back from the game. Number 3, Sarasaland is back and in canon again. Though it's not going to get any extra points for Shy Guy Bazaar, since I was already earning 10 points by default, it was worth sharing my predictions anyway. 10 points for Shy Guy Bazaar. Number 7, the Wario track I chose for my predictions was Wario Coliseum. It was impossible to know if any anti-gravity was coming back to the game, so I chose which one was my favorite and the most deserving out of all of them in my opinion. While Coliseum would have made an exceptionally amazing track to ride on the rails and walls like a motorbike arena, Wario Stadium looks pretty good too, and it's nice to see the final N64 track remade. However, 0 points though. Number 8, DS Airship Fortress not only returns from the DS, which I predicted, it provides some alternate routes than its previous counterpart due to the transitional track elements to it, which I also had hoped it would have. While you can't go the other way on the spiral at the end like I had hoped, we can explore it a lot more, including ramparts and another airship that we've never gotten to explore before. This track is going to be an automatic 10 points. Number 9, I did predict a ski slopes themed track in the Star Cup, however mine would have been based off a cookie/candy theme and the sugar stars from Mario Wonder, and we all know that we had no Mario Wonder references in this game whatsoever. DK Pass was not a track that I imagined to see, but its similarities to DK Summit and Mount Wario in this form are hugely welcome. For a slopes themed snow course in the Star Cup, I'm giving myself 5 points. An honorable mention here is that the elements of Vanilla Lake, as well as some of the music from that track, actually have returned in the snowy area as a transitional element in between tracks. Though this track did not make an appearance, nor will I earn points from this, I wanted to mention its inclusion of parts of the track and also the music. Now number 10, the Galaxy themed track of Stardew Peaks features elements from Super Mario Galaxy, including Lumas. I did, however, drop the Galaxy themed track called Galaxy Gateway in my final prediction. Originally, I had it in the Star Cup, and you would take launch stars that extend your wings for gliding. This did make an appearance here and in other areas in the world too, meaning launch stars, especially in the Rainbow Road track. This will now, however, only be an honorable mention. I'm getting 0 points for this one. Number 11, Sky High Sunday, I'm treating a little bit differently than every other track. In my predictions, I stated that tour tracks are disqualified for my practice, but if I did want to see some tour tracks back, we should definitely see Piranha Plant Pipeline and Yoshi's Island, and I quote. Although none of us expected to see this track chosen before a lot of the other tour tracks, it's here just the same, and it feels like it's actually its definitive version that we got snubbed on for the Booster Course Pass. But for this track, I'm actually giving myself negative 5 points for being dead wrong on this prediction. And could you blame me? Number 12, Wario Shipyard was one track I wanted to see, but scrapped it in favor for another Wario course, as well as Woohoo Loop is kind of what I was thinking it would be. Is it possible Woohoo Loop could make it back in the DLC with the re-inclusion of Mii's and a Woohoo Island map with 2 tracks, a battle mode in Woohoo Town, and a fully explorable 4K Woohoo Island? Oh man, I would love that, and it's possible. However, Wario Shipyard is what we have, and it's a great take on the track. I was very shocked at how accurately they depict the track despite no underwater sections. No points, 0, zilch, nada points for me this time though. Number 13, SNES Koopa Beach is a mixture of both tracks. It did make it in locationally, but the actual race course is a 5-lap race through Koopa Beach 2. It is, as I predicted, the first race of the Shell Cup, which makes me extra excited to say that with the appearance of the 2 tracks on the map, as well as predicting the right cup, I'm giving myself 10 points. However, let's all take notes that Nintendo doesn't care about continuity with retros anymore. This is based off of SNES Koopa Beach, not Koopa Troopa Beach from the N64. Or else this would be a whole nother story. No points would be awarded there. However, 10 points for this round. Number 14, Faraway Oasis is a safari-themed course that bears the resemblance to my idea for Sultry Safari that I ultimately scrapped in my final roster. Never did I think that we'd get such characters as Giraffe, Armadillo, and everyone's favorite, Ostrich Behind. But here they are. No points for this track. Such is the circle of life. Number 15, skipping Crown City and Peach Stadium, now to the Banana Cup, where we are seeing the return of Peach Beach. Can't say I got this one right either, but I love what they did to the track to make it way more complex. 0 points. Number 16, it's possible to see elements of DS Delfino Square included in Salty Salty Speedway. It's music with the Venice-style map with hanging laundry and flags. It's close proximity to the orange-colored tree biome, which was represented in DS Delfino. It makes me feel like this was the natural upgrade to the track that we could have gotten. We did get the music for DS Delfino Square included in the game, But DS Delfino Square is nowhere to be found, nor did I pick the right cup at all. 0 points for this one. Number 17, GCN Dino Jungle has returned as I predicted, and it's also in the Banana Cup. Though not in the right placement, this is an automatic win for me. And it earns 10 points. I love how they have spun this track into a dino research center, and they added more dinosaurs. You couldn't ask for a better prediction gone right. 10 points. Number 18, Great Question Block Ruins is not one that we all were predicting, but a track that we all needed from this game. It's complex, fun, and the way to get to it is crazy. I don't even mind the name so much. It's not nearly as many characters as N64 Koopa Troopa Beach, for example. But this track is getting 0 points for me, but 10 points for Nintendo for including it. 19 and 20. Cheep Cheep Falls is a Japanese-inspired track with beautiful fall scenery. While one could hope to drive on water, the formula at this time of predicting was underwater and gliding only. So most of my tracks had you under the falls more than driving over the falls. Same with Dandelion Depths. I didn't expect to see anything quite like these two beautiful tracks. Great job, Nintendo, but not for me. 0 points for these two tracks. Number 21. This one is actually crazy how accurate it is. Originally, my idea for a track called Showtime Screens would take place in a Peach Showtime themed track, but the idea of jumping in and out of movie screens was actually said in my video. Here, listen to this. That will send you into specific scenes based off of Princess Peach Showtime, and I think this could be a really cool concept and give Peach a really different track and not just a Peach's Castle track, but you're actually going through the screens, and I think that could be super duper cool. So that's based off of both a movie theater and different plays. And to my surprise, Boo Cinema shares a striking resemblance to this exact idea. Peach is also seen in the film reels on the track, which makes it even more ironic. Maybe Boo actually heard my idea, stole it, and trapped it in an eternal film reel to be immortalized forever? In any regard, this sort of prediction, in my opinion, gets 10 points for its spot-on prediction that even King Boo didn't know about. Number 22, a Dry Bones theme course called Dry Bones Burnout is represented similar to my idea for Dense Darklands, this time veering away from the Super Mario Bros. 3 and turning to a more Mexican-inspired theme. This may not be totally on theme for what I had hoped for. It veered into the Day of the Dead theme rather than the Haunting Woods theme I've seen in the Mario Bros. Movie where Luigi runs away from the horde of dry bones. That's what I was hoping for, but though the lava, dry bones roaming around, blue flames, and dark forest theme is on point, Nintendo took this in a great creative direction, better than what I could have planned for. I'm gonna give myself 5 points for this one using some of the themes that I shared, but it's not quite there. 5 points for this one. Number 23 and 24. A Moo Moo themed course, though I thought it would be Moo Moo Farm, does make a return into the roster. But I don't think that anybody expected Moo Moo Meadows for a second time so soon. And another makeshift battle course just like it was on the Wii U, unfortunately. But I'm happy to see it. I'm even happier to see Kao as a playable driver this time. Everybody loves him. Now, this cow originally appeared on N64 Moo Moo Farm, so this would have been a great track to remake since it's the original cow's appearance. But its music does return in the game, similar to how it sounded in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. But so far, from what I've seen, I do not see any recreations of Moo Moo Farm's layout on the map. So I'm giving myself 5 points for a Moo Moo chorus, as well as the music being included regardless. Though this N64 track didn't make it in, this next N64 track got a major glow up is N64 Choco Mountain. Now this was not another one that I predicted for the game either. So for this course, I'm doing 0 points. It's so sad not to see Banshee Boardwalk for another game, but we at least got 5 points for the Moo Moo course. Number 25, yes! Toad's Factory makes a triumphant return as I predicted. Originally for the Shell Cup, now appearing in the Lightning Cup. Maybe because it's now looking better than ever. I shared that a game with 24 players needed to open up some new alternate routes that lead into other parts of the factory, and boy was I totally right on this one. Can I say any more than thank you for keeping this one out of the booster course pass, Nintendo? 10 points for Gryffindor. Number 26. Acorn Heights is a tree-themed forest course where you appear small amongst giant flowers. This is similar to the idea that I had for Little Big Tree Fort. Parabitty bugs also make an appearance, and one of which is now playable like it hoped for a course like this. But sadly, once again, I scrapped this idea in my final roster, so it'll have to be a great 0 points. But let me take a moment to say goodbye to all my other track ideas that totally did not make the cut. Mushroom Museum, Koopa Carnival, EGAD Lab, Magic Koopa Mansion, Florian Isles, Bonsai Battleship, and the DK Jungle themed Bramble Branches. Big fat zeros for each of these so far. Number 27, SNES Mario Circuit brings another remix of all the first 3 Mario circuits. Who would have thought that we'd be having to skirt around that tight SNES Mario Circuit 3 turn again after only a couple months? Seriously, it has been made 4 or 5 times now and it's getting old. Though remix tracks were on my docket for the game, this is not one that I really wanted to see. If anything, Mario Circuit 4 was the most deserving. A big fat zero for Mario Circuit. Number 28. While I had a different idea in mind for Peach's Castle inclusion, Peach Stadium is alright too. By the way, I mean the real Peach Stadium and not that sad excuse for a track in the Shell Cup. 0 points for Nintendo on that one, and 0 points for me here too. But 10 points for this real Peach Castle, Peach Stadium track. I love it. So beautiful. 0 points though. Number 29. In true Mario Kart fashion, my penultimate track will be Bowser's Castle. While I had hoped that this would lean into Wonder's theming of Castle Bowser, I wasn't totally wrong here. The true entrance to Bowser's Castle after flying up to it has par cans. Now if you don't know, this is a type of stage lighting that you could see at old-style rock concert with colored lights hanging from racks on the ceiling and shining down on the stage. These similar lights were what I expected to see from a music-themed Castle Bowser stage. We also saw it in the Mario movie, how there's a rock concert going on at Bowser's Castle. There are also red laser indicators for falling lava rocks that are less similar to New Super Mario Bros. Style for the World 8 levels, and more similar to the indicators for lasers in some of the airship missions from Wonder. So I'm not totally wrong that some Wonder inspiration was taken for Bowser's Castle at least. While this is not a Wonder-inspired stage, it does share some of Bowser's musical and technological advances in his stage, and not just the medieval torture devices in his previous castles. I mean, including literal gels for our bro Marty, who is still suffering in N64 Bowser's Castle jail. So 5 points for these advances, but no green lava is found here like I predicted. Finally, seeing the new Rainbow Road for the first time left me feeling like a kid again playing that Mario Kart DS Rainbow Road. Flipping upside down and doing a corkscrew with my buddy Drew on that game felt so good. Nothing really captured the magic I felt until they re-released N64 Rainbow Road, where they added gold trim, beautiful graphics, and of course, the coin-throwing train flying in the sky. I had hoped that the Switch 2 Mario Kart's Rainbow Road would feature a rainbow-themed railroad. We did get a railroad, but this one is a lot more grounded. You know which one I'm talking about. And however, I was almost in tears when I saw that Rainbow Road in this game features a train twice in this track. This train not only flies next to the track, but on the final lap, it picks up icons from courses, and RoboDK is leading the front. This is iconic. This is not quite my vision, but it's every bit beautifully done. 10 out of 10 for Nintendo, and I'm gonna count 10 points for me. How could I know that Rainbow Road would be the last track in the Special Cup with all the changes we've seen so far? I'm looking at you, Retro Course names. Tallying up all the scores for these 30 tracks, we have 300 points total on the line. What are we looking at? We have -5 points for one track. 0 pointers were 15 tracks. 5 pointers were 6 tracks in total, and 10 pointers were 8 tracks. That's pretty good. So if you add all that up, this would lead to a final score of 105 out of 300. Tallying up all the prediction points in this scenario came out to 469 points to earn total. How many did I earn? Drum roll, please. Wait, a final number of 189? This can't be right. Which limbless blind character in the Mario Kart World roster added these points? I know it was you, Conctor. You will be my enemy forever. Sorry, DK. I didn't mean to say that. You will be our channel's nemesis forever, I promise. Now, 189 points total out of 496 does not seem like much on paper. But did you create a fully fleshed out roster of characters, battle courses, nitro, and retro tracks for the game? And if you did, I would love to hear about how combining all your ideas together would add up. Sure, some of your retros might have been on par, or guess that Wiggler was playable like Drew did. But my conclusion after this practice is simply that we just never know what Nintendo is gonna do. NPC characters breaking the definition of what NPC even means, a knockout tour in free roam mode, or a literal dolphin riding a dolphin dasher. So we just don't know what Nintendo's gonna do. So with me, eat a slice of humble dash food pie and sit on your ideas for another game. Who knows? Maybe Mario Wonder and the Mario movie will actually have more an effect on the next game outside of just player art style. We might actually see some enemies or playable characters from the games. We'll probably have to wait till another game. That's all I have for you guys today. I'm sorry if it didn't quite measure up to what you thought it was, but I had really fun just kind of tallying up all these points. I hope we're going to get some good DLC, and hopefully the DLC will open up opportunity for some of these predictions to actually become right, especially characters. I mean, we got chipped on some awesome characters here, guys. Just so you know, my next video in this series is going to be my predictions for the next Animal Crossing game for the Switch 2. So hopefully before this whole leak that's coming out for the July Direct, that we can get these predictions out there and hopefully we'll get a better score than 189. Thanks for watching this video, guys, here on the MFC. Once again, if you haven't subscribed, make sure to do that today. Give a like to this video if you liked how we did it, and have a great rest of your night. Take care.